Good afternoon and welcome to Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai Imam coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government to unveil national campaign for Made in Nigeria goods. ASU accuses federal government of collective bargaining insincerity. In other news, Army Colonel Radreina sworn in as Madagascar's president. We'll bring you the details of these stories and more in a moment. It's the news at noon. We head to the national scene where the federal government is set to launch a national campaign to promote Made in Nigeria goods and services under the Nigeria First policy as part of efforts to revitalize the manufacturing sector. President Bola Tinubu made this known in Lagos at the 5th Adiola Odutola lecture by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Represented by the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, John Eno, Tinubu said the campaign aims to shift national demand towards Nigerian products that meet global quality standards while also addressing the country's import dependency. He said his administration would continue to prioritize the growth of Nigeria's manufacturing sector through policies promoting production, consumption and export of made in Nigeria goods. In the meantime, the Minister of State for Education, Professor Soiba Ahmed, has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to advancing inclusive education and expanding learning opportunities for disadvantaged girls across Nigeria. She also called for the adoption of a sign language in schools to bridge educational gaps and ensure that girls with disabilities are not left behind. Professor Ahmed noted that the decision reaffirms Nigeria's commitment to inclusive education, the rights of persons with disabilities, and the belief that every girl can thrive when given the right support and opportunities. She urged the training of more sign language interpreters, the introduction of sign language across teacher training curricula, and the equipping of classrooms with tools to support visual gestural communication. We head now to the Red Chambers where the Senate has stepped down the Electoral Act Repeal and Amendment Bill 2025 after an extensive debate on its general principles. The Red Chamber said it took the action to allow for wider consultation and deeper scrutiny of its provisions. The proposed legislation seeks to repeal the Electoral Act of 2022 and reenact a new law aimed at delivering a stronger, more credible and inclusive electoral framework for Nigeria. It also proposes innovations such as digital registers of results, QR-coded voter identification cards, and stricter timelines for party primaries and result transmission. Leading the debate on the bill, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Simon Lalong, explained that the 2023 general election had tested Nigeria's democracy in profound ways. Elsewhere, INEC Chairman Professor Joash Amiputan has said that he will carry out a general audit of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), especially the logistics for conduct of the 2023 general elections, to unravel the challenges of the electoral management body and profess suitable solutions in collaboration with relevant stakeholders. Amiputan disclosed this during his screening of a committee of whole by the Senate. Quoting from a ruling of the Supreme Court, Amiputan said that the use of INEC's results viewing portal (IREV) is not a part of the results collation system of the Commission. He further said that there is a need for an Electoral Offences Commission to help investigate and prosecute electoral offences. On judicial matters, the Federal High Court in Abuja has fixed a definite hearing for Monday on the case challenging the proposed People's Democratic Party (PDP) National Convention billed for November 15 and 16, 2025. Justice James Omotosho assured the parties that he would do all within his powers to determine the suit before the end of the month. The judge spoke following a complaint by a lawyer to the PDP, Chris Uche San, that the party was being held back by the status order earlier made by the court. Justice Omotosho restated its order for parties in the suit seeking to stop the November convention of the PDP to maintain the status quo. In another development, the Nigeria Police Force (NPF) and the Nigerian Bar Association Section on Public Interest and Development Law (NBA) SPIDAL have agreed to review the tinted glass policy to make it aligned with public interest and national security objectives. The chairman of NBA SPIDAL, Professor Paul Ananaba San, announced this while addressing reporters in Lagos on the activities lined up for the SPIDAL 2025 conference. The NBA leader said the decision followed weeks of engagement between both parties after concerns were raised by Nigerians over the harassment of motorists whose vehicle windows were not completely transparent. He said the association intervened with several reports of indiscriminate arrest and impoundment of vehicles by police officers enforcing the tinted permit directive. We get to the education sector, where the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) has accused the federal government of insincerity in its approach to collective bargaining and the welfare of university lecturers. The union said the government's action showed a lack of regard for tertiary education. ASU's chairman at the University of Ibadan, Dr. Adefemi Afolabi, made the allegation while speaking on a live program. The union leader decried the government's delay in signing the renegotiated draft agreement reached by the Yahya Ahmed-led committee more than 8 months ago, describing it as a deliberate tactic to frustrate the union. We move now to the continent of Africa, where Army Colonel Michael Radadrina has been sworn in as Madagascar's president today, just days after a military power coup that sent ex-president Andry Rajoelina fleeing. Radadrina, who led the CAPSAT army unit that mutinied and joined anti-government protesters at the weekend, read out the presidential oath at a ceremony at the country's top court in the capital. The ceremony, presided over by the head of the Constitutional Court, was attended by military officers, politicians, representatives of the Gen Z youth-led protest movement, and several foreign delegations, including from the United States, the European Union, Russia, and France. Still in Africa, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned the recent unconstitutional change of government in Madagascar, calling for the immediate restoration of constitutional order and respect for the rule of law. In a statement delivered by UN spokesman Stephen Dujarric, the Secretary General expressed his support for the decision of the African Union's Peace and Security Council to suspend Madagascar from participating in all activities of the African Union and its affiliated institutions until constitutional order is reinstated. The Secretary General urged all stakeholders in Madagascar, including the youth, to unite in addressing the root causes of the country's political instability. He also reaffirmed the United Nations' commitment to supporting Madagascar's national efforts to achieve stability in cooperation with the African Union, the Southern African Development Community (SADC), and other international partners. On the foreign scene, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will meet with U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington today as Trump weighs whether to arm Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles capable of striking deep into Russia. Their meeting comes a day after Trump said great progress was made during a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, with the pair agreeing to face-to-face talks in Hungary. Trump said the call, the first with Putin since mid-August, was very productive, adding that teams from Washington and Moscow will meet next week. Still on the foreign scene, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that he is determined to secure the return of the dead hostages still in Gaza and that the country will continue to fight terrorism with full force. Netanyahu made the comments hours after Hamas returned the bodies of 2 more hostages, but said it was not able to access the remaining 19. Still to come in the news. Iwobi is set to break Nigeria's appearance record. Stay tuned for details of this and more in a moment.
Broadening your horizon is what every living being not only genuinely desires, but heartily pursues and intentionally invests in. For in the gathering of men, only those whose minds are in tune with the dynamics of the past, present, and future innovations, inventions, politics, and governance are respected. We are Spectrum Television, and broadening your horizon is our obsession. Rescan your decoder now to connect Spectrum Television on the frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. That is frequency 12589, symbol rate 26250. Polarization horizontal, and join our online community at spectrumtvlive.ng. For further inquiries, please call 0704 158 5642 or 0704 541 7707. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Get ready for the exciting showdown. The biggest names, the toughest competition.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. And now to the rest of our news stories. In the world of business, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has revealed that Nigeria is not among Africa's fastest growing economies, as countries such as Benin Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Uganda continue to lead the continent's growth trajectory in the world. The IMF said the 5 countries are now among the world's fastest expanding economies, buoyed by sustained policy reforms, improved fiscal management, and investments in infrastructure and manufacturing. The director of the IMF's African Department, Abibi Selassie, disclosed this during the launch of Sub-Saharan Africa's latest regional economic outlook at a press briefing. Still in business, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Olayemi Kadoso, has said that Nigeria is developing a new framework to enable, the use of national currencies in bilateral trade settlements. Speaking at a press briefing at the IMF World Bank annual meetings in Washington, D.C., Kadoso explained that while the country had previously experimented with local currency trade agreements, the initiative did not yield the desired results. He said the central bank was taking a more cautious and structured approach this time to ensure the future local currency trade arrangements deliver mutual benefits and reduce dependence on foreign exchange in cross-border transactions. On our health news, the Federal Hydrological Services Agency, NIHSA, says its latest monitoring shows high water levels along parts of the River Niger and River Benue, with the possibility of flooding in Kogi, Anambra and Delta states. NIHSA also predicted potential flooding in Benue, Adamawa, Niger and Bayelsa states. The agency added that a recent assessment of water quality during flood evaluation exercises revealed contamination in some shallow wells caused by floodwater intrusion. The Director General and Chief Executive Officer of NIHSA, Umar Mohammed, disclosed that this at a press briefing. He advised residents in flood-prone areas to remain vigilant and follow official advisories. Now to the world of sports. Alex Iwobi will make history as Nigerian with most appearance in the Premier League when Fulham welcomed his former club Arsenal to the Craven Cottage on Saturday. Iwobi has amassed 298 appearances in the English top flight till date. The versatile midfielder currently shares the appearance record with Shola Amelbi. The 29-year-old will move on top of the appearance record should he feature against Arsenal. Still in sports, Naomi Osaka has pulled out of the Japan Open before today's quarterfinal because of a leg sustained injury in the second round. The former world number one held back tears and needed painkillers to come through a three-set last 16 win over defending champion Susan Lemons on Wednesday. The Japan Open, who made the announcement on X, said top seed Osaka, who completed the match with strapping on her left thigh, was due to face Jacqueline Christian in the last 8, but the Romanian will instead progress to the semi-finals. On our entertainment news, Sam Fender has won the 2025 Mercury Prize for his third album, People Watching, a steely-eyed dissection of working-class life in the north of England. Fender beats the likes of Pulp and Wolf Alice, both former winners of the £25,000 prize for the Best British or Irish Album of the Year at a star-studded ceremony in Newcastle Utila Arena. His victory was met with a deafening cheer from the hometown crowd, who had earlier sung along to every word as he performed the title track of his prize-winning album. And that's all we are able to bring to you at this time. This has been Spectrum Television News at 12. Do well to follow us on social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. Uyai MM. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon.